Modeling with primitives is pretty straightforward, but it does have its limitations. You know, you're restricted by some of the basic shapes, and one thing that you can do to make modeling with primitives a little more advanced is to combine primitives with things like deformers. So I'm using the R25 new standard layout. There's a menu panel here where you can see a lot of deformers, things that will change the geometry of an object. So let's start with something like the bend. And so in this deformer, again, we want to drag this, make it a child of the cylinder so that it operates on that. A few things you'll notice, there is like an area that's going to be affected. So I'm clicking on the bend. A lot of times what I'll do to make it more customized is, you could use the standard size, or I'm going to hit this fit to parent button, so it fits it to the parent object in this case. And this is the bend deformer, so it's going to let me bend the object. We can turn up the strength here, and you can see it's bending. There are some issues. It's a little bit choppy right there. Let's go over to look at the lines, and you can see I'm missing some segments here. So in order for me to get a nicer bend on this, I'm going to add some more height segments, and I'll get a smoother bend this way. So that's a way for me to create, if I needed a bent cylinder, I could do it this way, and you can play around with the angle as you need to. There's some other things in here, like, if you adjust the size of the box or the transformation area, you can get slightly different effects. But using this, you're not just limited to a straight cylinder, for example. Let's keep going. Let's maybe grab some other items we could do with another cylinder, and we'll go over here. There's a lot in here. I'm going to use the ones that are probably most helpful for me for modeling with primitives. Again, let's bring this, make it a child of the object. I'm going to fit it to the parent, so you can see it moved over. That yellow-orange box shifted, and I can start twisting it. Again, if I want this to look a little bit smoother, if I hit Command R to look at preview, if I want it a little bit smoother, I want to put more segments in. Either way, and it might be a little bit hard to see actually because it's just a cylinder. Let's keep going. The other thing is you can have multiple deformers on an object, so maybe you want a twist and a taper, so we can bring that down here. Let's fit it to the parent, and this is going to let us taper it this way, so we're kind of making a twisty side like this. And you could also maybe you actually want those sides to be more visible, so you could get rid of some of these segments, and then you might get something that's a little bit more visible, like you can almost see the geometry in that. So that's, again, another example of using deformers. Some other things that might be helpful, a bulge, maybe for these I will grab some cubes, and let's pull this off this way, drag the bulge underneath, make it a child, fit the parent. I think I need to probably put some more segments on here. There we go. So now it's starting to bulge a little bit. Again, if you want smoother geometry, more segments. So that's one shape. Let's keep going. The next deformer I'll use, again, some of these, like, you can use them for animation. You can explode things. Probably not that helpful for modeling. Maybe bevel is the next good one that might be helpful. So we can add a bevel in here. Let's just go to There we go. I'm in the edges, but you know, there's different modes here, and you can see what that looks like. So again, we're going away from just the simple primitive and maybe getting a little nicer. And you know, as you add, again, more facets, you'll get a different shape. I could pull these deformers around to maybe force different shapes. I kind of did that by accident, but it might be useful. Okay, so again, here are just some simple shapes I created. I'm moving a little bit beyond just simple primitives. I'm starting to add some other transformations and things like that. So let's take some of these tools and maybe try to make something out of it, or maybe edit something that we've already made. I'm going to create a new face. This time I think I'll maybe create a unicorn or something like that. Feeling kind of inspired in that way. So let's see. The face, maybe I'll start with, again, I'm trying to think in general shapes. I'm going to start with like a square, or a cube, but I'll maybe elongate it. I'm making, again, that kind of horse unicorn face. Let's grab a deformer, and maybe I need to taper it a little bit. Bring it underneath. Let's fit it to the parent. Let's taper it. Oh, so some things to know. It looks like it's going in this direction. You can change the alignment. That's not correct. Oops. It looks like you have to fit to the parent each time you do it. So I believe this is the x-axis. There we go. X-axis. So that's like, you know, maybe the head of the unicorn. Maybe we could do more, but I might add some more segments just in case. So like it makes it a little bit more smooth. I'm kind of doing this on the fly as I go, so we will see. The reason I started making this unicorn is that I think I was sort of inspired by seeing something that looked kind of like a horn. I think in the previous example, I had a taper on it, and I believe I had a twist. So I'll put those two on there. Let's fit it and fit it. And taper it. Again, we can add more segments as needed. Maybe this radius maybe it's too wide. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to twist it. And I think to make it look like a twisted horn, I think I used fewer segments. So now it's starting to feel maybe like a unicorn horn. I think we need to taper this even more. Let's fit it to the parent. Yeah, so when I resized it, I think it lost some of. Here we go. It lost. It was no longer connected to the same size. Here we have this cylinder. Let's rotate it. Let's see. On a unicorn, I think it goes up at the top of the head. So let's bring it down. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe there's maybe the nose we'll put somewhere along here. I might need to just look at my different views. It's not quite sitting on the top of this. Okay, that's kind of a nose. Maybe to smooth this out, there's another deformer I can use. I think it's just called smoothing, and I can bring that into it. It kind of made it a button nose. I don't know if that's appropriate or not. Let's see. It's kind of a cartoon, so maybe that's okay. I I can play around with the strength of it. Again, maybe I need more segments, maybe I need fewer. Within this, you could also, you could scale this. So if I wanted to, let's see, if I wanted it to be more narrow, I could scale it this way, or you could also, again, use some of these other attributes. I think you should be able to, that's why I think I need I'm just scaling this down a little bit. I'm kind of curious. I should probably have some reference here, kind of flying blind. What else might we need? This is tapering. I almost feel like I need to taper this again. Or maybe just increase the taper strength. Maybe the next thing I'll do is bring in some eyes. Maybe I need to have an eye hole kind of taken out from here. So let's see, this is the head. I'll use a bool to subtract A minus B. And maybe I'll make two of these, or maybe I should make a symmetry object. And again, I can have these embedded inside of each other. Symmetry for this, I think it needs to go in a different axis. X, Y, there we go. So that's kind of what that looks like. We'll make another symmetry object. And maybe put in some, I'll copy that into here. Maybe put in some eyes this way. So this is, again, super rough, but it's kind of cartoony. Maybe that's a little bit of a horse. What else might we need to do here? I think this nose is not quite right, so I want to actually go back and fix that. I believe this is the nose. I think how we normally see it is maybe you see the nostrils of a horse. So I'm just going to scale that down and maybe move it off to the side. There we go. And I could probably just put this in the symmetry object. Let me take that, and again, we could put it in here, but we want to group these together so that they both get separated. There we go. So symmetry, and actually it's inside the bool, so they look kind of like indentations, like nostrils. All right, so that's kind of like the horse we got. I think or unicorn, I think what we need is ears, and then, you could keep going on this, but I just want to get something in the books. So I think we could maybe do a pyramid for the top and make it a little bit skinnier. It's a little bit too long still. Again, we are Doing this bit by bit, trying to look at, and I think if I'm going to use a deformer on this, I'll probably want to bend it. So in preparation, I'll just add some more segments so that it'll be pliable. Let's bend it, bring it down underneath, fit it to parent, start a little bend. There we go. It's kind of what we want, maybe not. Okay, I think it will look better if it's, kind of forwards like this. Maybe move it off to the side. Yeah. Feels a little bit big. Okay, so maybe something like that. Again, it's kind of cartoony. I'm gonna bring it into here. Let's see. We'll add the symmetry here. Again, the symmetry can only work on one object or one entity, so we'll group that together. We've kind of got something happening here. Let's label that as the ear. So I think we're starting to see some progress. I want to see kind of how it's looking like. I'll do Command R. Okay, we can keep refining this as needed. Maybe the head can get tapered a little bit more. Okay, I feel like that's getting somewhere. Maybe the horn could get a little bit bigger. Okay, and then, right now it's still kind of boxy. Again, we can probably clean things up. It's kind of, there's a lot of polygons there. Maybe I'll kind of see that. If we want to make that a little bit nicer, again, we can go in, add more segments. That might feel a little smoother. Speaking of smoothness, we could use a smoothing. So one other way to activate deformer. One other way to activate it, you can make it a child of something, or you could also put it in the same group. So what I'm going to do is make a group out of this bool, because that's kind of like the whole head. Call that the head, and you'll see inside of it there's different groups. So this is technically this is the head, this part right here. And if I bring the smoothing deformer inside of it, it's going to start operating on whatever's inside the same group with it. They're at the same level. Now you can see this one a little bit too crazy. The strength is at 100, but I might be able to dial it back a bit. And from there, you can see maybe I'm able to get a little smoother edge along there. It looks like I'm starting to miss a few things. So this nose, I think this nose got knocked out a little bit. Just want to see something. Something happened with the nose here. Or, yeah, the nose is not quite. There we go. I think I just lost it because I smoothed it out a little bit. We could add more segments in here to give it a little bit more smoothness when we bring this back in. Whoops, again. Sorry, wrong place. We want to bring it back up there. Smooth it out a little bit. Maybe this head needs to get a little bit bigger, because when I do the smoothing, it kind of loses some of the volume. Maybe we want to bring some smoothing into the ears as well. So I think the symmetry was here. Let's copy, bring some smoothing in there. I think now the ear needs to get adjusted so it kind of fits in the space of the head. Maybe it could rotate a tiny bit. And yeah, this is kind of, again, just adding on one more level of refinement. So we're not using just plain primitives. We're adding a little bit more refinement. Here we're losing. Some of the geometry is getting a little bit wonky. You want to maybe be cautious of where you are with the edges, or the smoothness. I think you'll see kind of clearly how that geometry is getting locked up. I think we need to add a few more segments in the head. There we go. That should a few more of these, a few more of those. That should clean up the geometry, so we're not getting those weird edges. Yeah, but that's the process. Just again, quickly modeled a unicorn head using the primitives and some deformers.